Well, welcome along to Royal Ascot preview for day 3 here on Channel 88. 2 wonderful days racing so far, and once again Scott and I to preview the first 4 races for you. The races coming up live here on Channel 88 starting at 9:30 this evening. Scott, just to reflect obviously on yesterday, sometimes all you need is love, and that's exactly what the Royal Ascot fans got yesterday. How good was she?
It was a stellar performance, Nick. She's a world-class individual mare, and she's got a lot of things on the future for her. And she looked headed at one stage. She looked in a bit of trouble coming around the corner, but she was very gallant. She did all the work up front, and she's a very, very exciting horse.
She certainly is. She was very smart in winning the Prince of Wales's stakes there yesterday. So another Group 1 to her dance card for Aidan O'Brien and those connections. Ryan Moore doing the steering there. Obviously Frankie Dettori also got to 75 Ascot winners yesterday as well. And Laura Pearson we saw take one of the latter races on the card as well. The Kensington Palace Stakes handicap. So great to see another female jockey get a win at Royal Ascot.
Yeah, it's a very sort of mixed results bag. We've had a few favourites. We've had quite a big long odds, results over the last couple of days, and it's really thrown a lot of pressure to trying to find a winner.
Yeah, indeed. Well, let's take a look at what we've got coming up this evening. Then we start with the Norfolk Stakes, that race over the extended 5 furlongs. Race 2, the Hampton Court Stakes. Interesting race that. There's obviously a bit of Derby form on show there. That's over the 2,004 metres. And then following that, race 3 is the Ribblesdale, the fillies race over the 2,406 metres. Looking forward to that, and obviously we culminate here on the channel. Race 4 of the evening is the Ascot Gold Cup, 4,014 metres. It's a test, and one horse that I'm certainly predicting will be up to the test is the mighty Stradivarius. Let's look at what's coming up, Scott. Let's start with the Norfolk Stakes for 2-year-olds. The straight 5 furlongs in operation here. Where would you like to start? Obviously Wesley Ward's got a runner in here. John Velazquez rides as well, so yet to hit the target, Wesley, but he's got another throw at the board.
Yeah, Wesley Ward's very well represented in this race. He has stablemates Lucci and Nakatomi, and I'm leaning more towards the likes of Lucci with the travelling jockey in John Velazquez, who's booked to ride, who's the main rider for the Wesley Ward stable in these events. And look, it's no feat that Ocean Murphy rides the stablemate, so he's got a good hand in this.
For Qatar Racing, yeah.
Yeah, so look, from what I've heard in the reports, Lucci just had the upper hand on him in a track gallop leading up to this event, and these 2-year-olds, it wouldn't be a race without Wesley Ward having some sort of representation.
Yeah, I think he's certainly got a very strong chance in this. Obviously the home team, perhaps led by a horse like Project Dante, who was a winner at York, incidentally given the name, and beat Corker on that occasion. He's well bred. Brian Smart's got a good record with 2-year-olds at Ascot. He's won 3 Royal Ascot races with juveniles down through the years as well, so don't rule him out. Ridden by former jump jockey Graham Lee. Obviously much success on the flat now for him in recent years, and also I thought Go Bears Go was a bit of a chance here. I didn't think he was the worst of them as well. A horse like him, David Loughnane trains, Sylvester de Sousa will ride. He's been very impressive. Owned by a new operation called Ammo Racing, who have got a lot of horses and are doing very well indeed, so they'll certainly be wanting an Ascot winner.
It's good to see new groups getting involved in racing, and to have runners on these big carnivals, full credit to them.
Must also mention Catamosto as well for Aidan O'Brien there. Ryan Moore, drawn gate number 2. He'd obviously be well respected as well. Just incidentally, on the draw, obviously, there's always mixed messages regarding the draw in some cases. I must just say, obviously, at time of recording this and looking ahead to day 3, there was a forecast of rain as well, which I don't believe has quite materialised just yet, but I imagine working towards race 1, which obviously is coming up very soon, we might get a better idea obviously on the ground. Yeah,
the way the track's been racing the last few days, there's been some pretty quick sectionals run in the early stages of the races, and it's really setting up for some backmarkers to come over the top of them. So just really stay tuned to the weather, and if it might just sort of alter your tips a little bit if the rain does come. Yeah,
it could certainly affect your punting there. In race 1, I'll make it between a couple here. Go Bears Go, and I think Project Dante for me will be 2 I'd take out of the field. Again, look, it's a 16-runner race. You probably throw any number of chances in, but I'll take those 2 for the home team.
Yeah, I'm leaning with the Wesley Ward runner in Lucci Velazquez to ride, and you just have to really take notice of him in these 2-year-old juvenile events at the Royal Ascot Carnival. And I'll go to Aidan O'Brien, train Catamosto, just as a chance to beat him and finish in the top 3. I feel he's a big player in this event.
Certainly is. Race 2 coming up at 10:05 is the Hampton Court Stakes. Group 3 this race over the extended mile and a quarter. As I mentioned at the top of this preview, obviously a bit of Derby form on show. One ruler, 6th in the Derby for Charlie Appleby, having obviously taken the race with the Daya. And also, interestingly enough, more so for me here, Scott, is Mahafef, who obviously was scratched on the morning of the Derby, the ground not to his liking. He comes here. Obviously, this isn't a Derby, but it's still a good pot to win. And I just feel if they were happy to miss the Derby and he gets his ground here, then he's got to be a big player.
Yeah, I looked at him as well, Nick. Obviously, the William Haggas train runner was scratched in the short term leading up to the Derby, just maybe within an hour before the race. So he doesn't like any rain-affected going. So I'm sort of leaning towards him on a drier track. But if the rain comes and it does soften it up a bit, I would probably lean towards somewhere else. But that's pending the weather.
There's been a good word for Move in Time as well. Second on both his 2-year-old runs. Obviously, he's been racing on the all-weather, but did win at Newmarket over a mile and a quarter back on May the 13th. He's a horse who's well respected. Typical of a race like this, you want an up-and-coming improver, and he looks certainly one of those. Yeah,
but it's a race with a fair bit of scope, and there's a lot of proven performers in this, and Move in Time is definitely one of them. But I'm gonna keep an eye on the clouds on the TV leading up to this race, and stick strong with Mahafif.
Yeah, I'd go with him as well. I think he's a very smart colt, this one, and he looks like he might just be a Group 1 horse in the making going forward, having won the Filden Stakes at Newmarket there by 5 lengths. He looks very impressive, beating Secret Protector, who also runs in this race here this evening. Moving on to the third. Now this is the fillies race. Always a really good race, this, the Ribblesdale Stakes. A Group 2 over the extended mile and a half, almost a bit like an Ascot Oaks really, for horses that are obviously coming on from that race. A bit like our previous, the Hampton Court. Noon Star didn't run in the Oaks. She's very well bred. She's bred absolutely in the purple, half sister to mid-term obviously, and you know that pedigree well. She missed the Oaks. She lines up here. She's the mount of James Doyle for Sir Michael Stour. I think she's the one probably to be with here, but again, it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's a good race.
Yeah, it's a great race for the 3-year-old fillies, Nick, and obviously diving back through to form, a lot of these horses have gone up against each other in runs gone by, so I look towards the bottom of the field actually, in the likes of Twisted Reality for Ralph Beckett and Ocean Murphy. Look, he's a bit of a price, and I think you're going to get a fair bit of value if you're looking towards an each way bet in this race. And she's got a lovely barrier in barrier 3. And look, she did run behind Eshtadar, who's going to probably be near favourite for this event. So I just feel this race I was searching for a bit more value. Yeah,
Eshtadar, it leads me on nicely actually to that runner. Obviously a horse who'd won at Nottingham last November, and obviously won a listed race over 10 furlongs at Newbury on May the 15th. That's it was a bit of an Oaks trial. They run there at Newbury, obviously slower tempo on that occasion, but she was good enough to win, obviously. And not forgetting Divinely, who's going to be well fancied as well. Ned Bryan ran her in the Oaks, obviously well beaten, but she does love soft ground. And if the rain does come and the heavens open, these Irish horses I think can sometimes come into their own.
They're a different cattle of horse, the Irish bred horses. They grow up on the wet paddocks from the day they're born, and they really know how to run through it.
They certainly do. It's worth 160,000 sterling, so it's a lot of money up for grabs in the Ribblesdale. Really good race. Not forgetting Holly Doyle's actually got a ride in this as well, and one of the outsiders. So again, the lady riders well represented throughout the course of the week here at Ascot. Noon Star for me though in this one. I thought I love her as a filly. I think she's very smart, and she looks the one to be.
Yeah, I'm leaning with Twisted Reality for Ocean Murphy down the bottom of the field, number 13. I just like the way she finished off from back in the field and was really doing her best work late, and this distance is right up her alley, and she could be a progressive filly as the season goes on. So yeah, Twisted Reality for me.
Yeah, Gloria Monday as well. Must just mention her very briefly. Obviously the game form tied in with Ashada, so there's a lot of form that ties in well here amongst horses in the Ribblesdale. Now race 4 is the Ascot Gold Cup. I mean, some people say it is the Gold Cup. There is only one Gold Cup. It's not the Ascot Gold Cup, it's not anything else, it's the Gold Cup. It's over 4,014 metres, a really extreme distance. It's worth a lot of money. It's due off at 11:20, so it'll be the final race we'll take here this evening on the channel, but it just revolves around one horse really, and they say many a good tune is played on a good old instrument. What about Stradivarius?
He's just a star stayer, isn't he? He just continually comes out and dominates in this race. He's got 3 wins to his name in the event. Frankie Dettori, the King of Ascot, rides him, and I think he's primed to go four in a row this year.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of talk about the ground, but he has got form on officially soft ground. So I think John Gosling, the point he was making, just alerting punters, well, not so much punters, but just alerting everybody with this horse, is the fact that soft ground is not his ideal, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he can't win on it. So.
I enjoyed watching John Gosden earlier in the week when he has a runner or even a winner at Royal Ascot. He just stands at the finish line, so cool,
Amazing,
calm,
man.
and collected. It's like he's winning a maiden at a midweek in Australia. He just does nothing phases him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see footage of him if Stradivarius happens to win, and he just stands there watching him coast by the line like he just knew he would.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he sent horses to somewhere like Sale or Stony Creek. He'd probably win there as well. So.
Oh, he might stay at home and watch him on the couch.
Yeah, for sure. He might send his son Thady. Okay, so if it's not going to be Stradivarius, I mean, have you got to have a name that starts with an S? I mean, we've got Santiago, Subjectivist, Serpentine, a Derby winner, all good horses. Obviously, there's been a lot of spruiking for Subjectivist, who's really improved.
Yeah, it's obviously a test of the stayers, and 4,014 metres it's a long distance. It's unbelievable the distance. So look, you've got last year's Melbourne Cup winner in Twilight Payment for Joseph O'Brien, the Lloyd Williams owned runner, and look, he obviously can stay. He set a cracking tempo in last year's Melbourne Cup and held on. He did it on both ends, and not many horses can do that in a Melbourne Cup. So he's obviously an out-and-out stayer, and I think he can maybe try and test Stradivarius, if not definitely be a top 3 player.
Yeah, as you say, obviously they do go a strong tempo in that Melbourne Cup usually, so you need to be able to stay there. Just one or two others to mention. Obviously, we mentioned Santiago. Obviously, he's going to be a double-figure price, like quite a few in here. Trushan is a horse who knows Ascot well. Holly Doyle, that would be a massive win for her if she could win on him. Obviously, she did so on Kipco Champions Day. And there's a horse out at the bottom here, Princess Zoe, from a predominantly jump stable, Tony Mullins. She's a very, very stout stayer. She gets a bit of weight here as well. She receives a kilo. If this ground comes up soft, she'll absolutely revel in it, this mare. Yeah,
she's look. Obviously, she was bought from Germany, and Willie Mullins, like you said, he's a known trainer of jumpers, but he's also a known Melbourne Cup visitor in Australia in the Spring Carnival. So he knows what it takes to train these stayers, and definitely these jumping trainers, they know how to put the miles into these horses' legs.
They certainly do. Stradivarius, though, I think possibly the one that we'd all like to see win, whether or not, he's not a working man sort of price. I think he's going to be a shade of odds on, obviously here on our tote and obviously internationally as well. But it's the one we all really want to see win, I suppose. And I think if he does what he did last year, he'll absolutely marmalise them.
Yeah, my eyes will be on Stradivarius, Nick. I think he's a great stayer, and he has a lot of presence about him. And even in the parade ring, he likes to stamp his authority. And I'll be looking to him in this race.
Amazing. He's an older horse, Entire. They rarely stay in training as long as him, but fair play to his owner Bjorn Nelson. He's obviously trying to make a bit of history as well to win 4 on the bounce and equal the great Yates. So there's a look at the first 4 races that come up on the card. They are the 4 that we'll be showing you live up until 11:20 here this evening. Time for a few best bets, Scott. Where would you like to start? Your selections have done better than mine so far this week, I must say. I think you had a winner and a second, and I've had two unplaced, so you're more than welcome to go first.
Yeah, I had a winner and 2 seconds and a third last night, so it wasn't too bad. Yeah, so I'll go Lucci in race 1, the Wesley Ward trained filly, and I'm just thinking he's got to break his duck this week. He's been pretty close so far, and we wouldn't be surprised to see Wesley Ward about a couple of winners during this week.
Yep, absolutely. Wesley, good luck to him. Obviously, he's got strong chances. The Ribblesdale Stakes for me is my best bet, Noon Star for Sir Michael Stout. Obviously, it's been a relatively quiet couple of years for Sir Michael, but he's one of the leading trainers at Ascot, and I mean, he really is a man who can ready them for the big meetings. So Noon Star with the pedigree. James Doyle rides that one in the Ribblesdale Race 3 here this evening. So that's about all we've got time for. Racing starting imminently as well. Obviously, it's only day 3, so not even halfway there just yet before racing here this evening. So looking forward to it, Scott, and plenty more action still to come the rest of the week.
Yeah, it's like we say each day, it's great watching these big races in Royal Ascot, and I'm set up on the couch at 9:30 every night, and we're tuned in ready to dive into the action.
Yeah, indeed, looking forward to it. Hope you are as well. Stay tuned to this channel. 4 races coming up live from day 3 of the Royal Meeting at Ascot. Do hope you're enjoying the coverage. Still so much more to come here for one of the best weeks in racing anywhere around the globe.